Hello. I'm going to show you a little bit of my childhood. This is a Let's Play thread called Let's Horribly Break Pokémon Blue, created back in 2010 by Metroixer. They went around with Game Shark and showcased a bunch of glitchy stuff in the original Pokémon games. This is what got me into the science of glitching, alongside some very old YouTube creators. Of course, this thread was based on 2010 glitch knowledge, which was highly inaccurate and mostly relied on guessing. Which is why today I am going to go through all of the threads one by one and explain everything with modern glitchology advancements. It's a good time to mention, if you want to experience this thread updated to modern content quality standards, there is a remastering of it. It's in the form of a commentated YouTube video for people who can't read. Obviously, I recommend you go and familiarize yourself with the original thread before watching this video. Let's get right into it. Our journey begins in Pallet Town, where we do the thing every kid with Game Shark did back in the day. We go into grass without any Pokemon and we encounter a wild blank. In modern terms, this effect's name is actually Wild Appeared. The general idea is, if we have a lot of Pokemon, the routine that draws these sprites right here ends up causing a buffer overflow. We have 0 Pokemon, which is not a lot, but because the offending routine keeps subtracting from the number until it reaches 0, having 0 Pokemon effectively counts as having 256. This buffer overflow ends up trashing many battle variables, including the opponent's name and species. Then we get a chance to meet our first glitch Pokemon of the run. The author continues to describe it as if it's some special glitch Pokemon available only through this trick. However, in reality, it's just a regular M. What happens is, when we don't have any Pokemon in slots 1 to 6, the game will continue scanning past the 6th slot to find something with non-zero health to send out. Pokemon beyond slot 6 are not actual Pokemon, they're random bits of memory being interpreted as Pokemon data. Here's a document I made called the Out of Bounds Slot Bible. It tells you exactly which slot corresponds to which parts of memory. On a new playthrough, the first out of bounds Pokemon which will be considered alive is slot 12, which has HP equal to my rival name. Yes, this is a real statement somehow. A cool thing to note is that we can make our rival name very short, and in such case we end up sending out slot 13 instead, which has slightly different effects. We will talk about slot 12 however, since this is what happened in Met's run. The species byte for this Pokemon is at D16E, and it's equal to 0. The author proceeds to fight with this monstrosity, but it disobeys. It acts like a traded Pokemon, and since we have no badges, all traded Pokemon above level 10 will disobey. It's not level 20 like the author states, and we can confirm it by looking at the code. Its moves are based on badges, some text engine flags, and our player ID. Badges will always be 0 since we're on a fresh file, and text engine flags will always be 1. These values correspond to Cool Trainer Move and Pound. So Pound is in fact a part of this Pokemon's moveset. Then we have this screenshot, which I believe was just taken while the game was still printing text, and the author lied a little bit for dramatic effect. This was common in early internet creepypasta culture. Even I did it a little bit in the past, so don't treat it as something inherently bad. The author correctly notices that after exhausting the PP for Cool Trainer, we still can't use Struggle. That's because there are more moves underneath Cool Trainer, we just can't see them since Cool Trainer hides everything below it. Here's what happens when I replace Cool Trainer, and looky there, we have some more moves. There's also this small pet peeve of mine, which is giving human-like qualities to computer code. Games have no internal thoughts, emotions, or reactions. Then, the author proceeds to perform the same glitch, but with a trainer, and they get a sudden game restart. This effect is actually fairly easily reproducible. However, notice how I whipped out the very bad emulator for this one. This effect is actually a VBA emulation inaccuracy regarding Cool Trainer moves. It's the Cool Trainer move causing the effect, not the Pokemon. Because VBA does not emulate VRAM inaccessibility or Echo RAM, and we're starting from a fresh save as well, the state of the game's memory will be very consistent. Cool Trainer moves will cause the same effects very reliably, as long as we're playing on VBA of course. Because of memory corruption, window register updates are disabled and we get no text boxes as screen data ceases to change. This is consistent with what the original playthrough reported. There's also this mention of a ball being thrown and things flickering like crazy, which I imagine is just the player accidentally opening the item menu and using a ball item. We also get some proof that there's no Poké Blue in the grass east of Pallet Town. You can probably guess this is completely true. Now we get to the second update, where Met experiences some glitch Pokémon for the first time. The first target they choose is this H-Poké ball. I'm just gonna call it H-Poké. After catching it, they predictably get stuck on the Pokédex entry, which is not surprising. H-Poké's dex entry is known to hang the game indefinitely. It has a bunch of control characters which play a lot of sounds, and some of them never end up stopping. It has nothing to do with the Pokémon's cry, rather with the dex entry text. There are a number of ways to circumvent it. An easy way is to just catch H-Poké while having low HP. The game skips playing all sound effects while playing the low HP alarm, thus giving you a chance to continue without freezing. Another easy way is to capture a Gengar to skip the entry altogether, which is what the author did. The author states that glitch Pokémon are placeholders, which is not entirely correct. Only some of them can be considered placeholders, but for most of them they're just garbage data getting read as Pokémon data. Thankfully, this was corrected by one of the users and their explanation is still very much accurate to this day. For the most part at least. This is also back from the times where people called glitch Pokémon Pokégods. Met proceeds to play around with some glitch moves learned by H-Poké, more specifically HM02. It's mentioned that this move's PP fluctuates a lot and blames it on the glitch Pokémon, but it's actually the fault of the move. This move's maximum PP is set to 200, which causes some issues since the two highest significant bits of PP values are intended for usage of PP ups. The move will start with 3 PP ups applied, since 200 has 2 most significant bits set. This is why you can't use any PP ups on the move, even after just learning it. Starting PP is 8, because 200 mod 64 is 8. 1 PP up will add 1/5 of move's maximum PP, capped at 7, so the maximum PP will turn out to be 29. This is why the move's PP are not filled up completely after learning it. The math gets even more crazy when you try to restore PP in a Pokémon Center. If you try to do that, you will get 22 PP out of 29. This has to do with how PP restoration is calculated. The game will take the move's maximum PP, which is 200, and add the PP up bit mask to it. We end up with 8, but with 2 PP ups applied, thus adding up to 22 out of 29. It's also worth to mention that the names of the moves are purely coincidental. These moves are not placeholders, it's not like the devs specifically planned this and coded them into the game. I saw a lot of speculation about these moves being scrapped versions of TMs, but it's just not true. They have TM names because the getName routine returns these names for anything above index C0, regardless if it's a move name or an item name. This can even be seen in yellow, where index FF gets renamed to TM55 after evolving. Now comes some rumor busting. There is in fact a secret cuttable tree out of view near the Viridian Forest entrance gate. You can cut it without any issue obviously, although it doesn't really lead to anywhere. And there's indeed a patch of grass out of view near the exit gate. The author believes that it was because Viridian Forest was originally planned to be part of the route, but I believe it was just a mapping effort to make the gates feel more connected. There are wild encounters there only because the entire map is set to have encounters no matter where the grass is. I can hack a patch of grass in any spot and it would also work, so it doesn't prove that this spot was intended to be used. There is really no way to know, unless we get extra insight into the game's development cycle. There have been some leaks, but I don't know much about them. Maybe someone else can answer it for me. Finally, I got some pedantic remarks on properties of glitch moves. One of the members has stated that glitch move data is effectively random. I know the statement was supposed to be a big simplification, but glitch move data isn't as random as one could believe. If we check what's after the move table, we will discover that the base stats table is located afterwards. This is where glitch moves get their attributes from. Base stat tables contain simple information like types, experience yields, as well as actual base stats. They all tend to be low numbers, so the numbers used for defining glitch moves will also be mostly low. I created a histogram of glitch move definition bytes, and not surprisingly it leans highly towards lower numbers. About 63% of bytes have their values below 64. When you take all of that into account, it's not surprising that most glitch moves have such low accuracy. And yes, you can enter Viridian Gym early by walking through walls. I wouldn't say there's any point in it, but it's possible and it marks the end of the second update. Next time we're gonna look at chapters 3 and 4 with Blocky, the new glitch, Super Glitch, and many wonderful glitch sprite mysteries. There's a lot of glitchy stuff to look forward to, so be on the lookout for the next parts if you like this one. Or if you like Gen 1 glitch science in general, then you're also welcome to stay. For now, thanks for watching, and see you next time.